So our article set out to take a deeper dive into high adopters for an AI ECG algorithm to detect patients with low ejection fraction. And when we took a deeper dive and looked at those providers who were high adopters, we found that they were twice as likely to identify low ejection fraction as clinicians who were defined as low adopters for this new AI algorithm. My name is David Rushlow. I serve as chair for the Midwest Department of Family Medicine at Mayo Clinic, and I'm the lead author of our upcoming article titled Clinician Adoption of Artificial Intelligence Algorithm to Detect Left Ventricular Systolic Dysfunction in Primary Care. That will be published in the November 2022 edition of Mayo Clinic Proceedings. So our article, it was a companion article to the EAGLE trial, where we tested a artificial intelligence algorithm for routine electrocardiograms, which were done on our patients across our practice over a 6-month period of time. The algorithm was designed to detect asymptomatic left ventricular dysfunction or low ejection fraction, low left ventricular ejection fraction. And we were able to use a very common test, an ECG, together with the algorithm to define folks who were not previously diagnosed with low ejection fraction. And we found that when we used the algorithm, we were statistically more likely to detect these patients. And by detecting them earlier, we're able to initiate treatment options that will have a significant impact on their morbidity and mortality. So we were pretty excited about the findings of the EAGLE trial. What we wanted to do is take a deeper dive into the group of clinicians that were more likely to respond to the positive algorithm prompt that patient has a high likelihood of having a low ejection fraction. And a response to that was they ordered an echocardiogram on those patients to make the diagnosis of low ejection fraction. So when we looked at the top quartile of clinicians who ordered an echocardiogram after a positive ECG, we found that compared to the lower 3 quartiles, they were twice as likely to diagnose patients with low ejection fraction, which was what we thought a very important finding, because what it does is defines that when you trust the algorithm, you are more likely to make an important diagnosis for your patient population. We also looked at the characteristics of high adopting clinicians, and we found that those clinicians tended to have less experience with patients with cardiac problems. They tended to be advanced practice providers, so nurse practitioners or physician assistants. And they tended to be more in the family medicine discipline than in internal medicine. Although we didn't find when we adjusted for all those factors, it didn't meet statistical significance, but it certainly tended toward high adopters being less comfortable with taking care of patients with low ejection fraction, so more likely to trust the AI algorithm. And when they did that, they were twice as likely to make the diagnosis. So it really validates the importance of these new artificial intelligence technologies for decision support in a very important problem in our practice. For patients, it's a huge win, because these new technologies are able to identify problems at a much earlier stage than what we're able to identify now. And for many diseases, when we define them earlier in their disease progression, we can intervene and prevent the ongoing complications that occur from those diseases. So it's an exciting development. I think what it's also exciting is oftentimes these AI innovations are occurring at a very high level within the Mayo Clinic specialty practice. And what we're wanting to demonstrate is a collaboration between family medicine, where we take care of patients, many patients earlier in their disease process, and we touch so many different lives. So when these high-level interventions are connected to a primary care family medicine practice, we can demonstrate a much huger impact, and have a bigger impact on our patients and the communities that we serve. In regards to our future work, we need to make these decision support tools much more available in the normal workflow of a primary care family medicine practice. Our providers do take care of a lot of patients and have a lot of different things to focus on. And as all of these new technologies come to us, we need to make them usable for our care teams on the front line. And so more work needs to be done to make these fit into our workflow so that they're at our fingertips and they're available and we use them. Because if they're just developed and they're not being used, then they're not being nearly as effective as they need to be in everyday frontline practice. We're really excited about what this article or what this study is able to show us in our progression of using digital AI technology at the frontline family medicine practice. And there are many more technologies coming our way. And to be able to study the impact in a real world pragmatic way will have a very positive impact on our patients and our communities. And we look forward to doing much more of this as these innovations are developed at Mayo Clinic. So in light of that, I invite you to take a look at the article for yourself to see what you think. I think if you're excited about new technology and as we transform our practice, I believe this article really gives you a picture of what we can achieve in the future. And you'll find it in the November edition of Mayo Clinic Proceedings.
We hope you found this presentation from the content of our website valuable. Our journal's mission is to promote the best interests of patients by advancing the knowledge and professionalism of the physician community. If you are interested in more information about us, our homepage is www.mayoclinicproceedings.org. There you'll find access to information for our social media content, such as additional videos on our YouTube channel or journal updates on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter. More information about healthcare at Mayo Clinic is available at www.mayoclinic.org. This video content is copyrighted by Mayo Foundation for Medical Education and Research.